We are officially rolling.
We are rolling.
Good God.
The
Rolling,
podcast
baby.
with
Phil Risden.
Hello, Phil.
Hey, how you
Hello,
doing?
And Kyle
and
Glenn.
Kyle.
Kyle Glenn.
Oh my God.
I feel like a real radio host now.
I know. Now
I know.
it's like above podcast.
This
We're
feels good.
officially
With the
radio
cans.
people.
That's what they call it in the industry. The cans.
The cans.
Yeah, so.
We got the cans. We got the mic, and he has the duct tape on.
Yeah, man. This is the. I got the struggle mic.
Executive
I made
mic.
sure,
I feel like I'm on Hot 97 right now.
Hot 97.
Literally. I was actually talking to my homie today, and we were talking. I used to intern at 1021 and 1021 FM in Milwaukee.
Kyle Maine, the god.
Yeah, Kyla Maine the God.
I love it.
Yeah.
Go on, Wisconsin. You're a
Exactly.
crazy radio host. WKRP.
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
100%. And I'm the king of fucking missed connections on on Craigslist.
Dude, you know what though? It makes sense though because you have a great voice. You pretend this guy. He pretends as if he has a bad voice. He has a great voice.
I do have a bad voice.
You guys both have a voice.
Yeah, you have a very
voices
nice
for
voice.
radio.
I don't have
For
a
real.
good voice,
You
do
do.
I?
It works very well for radio. You act like it doesn't, and you praise my voice. My voice is good. You know, it's incredibly buttery. Sometimes I listen to my voice.
It's
and I come,
incredible.
you know, but his is good too. Yours is very good.
Speaking of coming, we have Nadja Sayej on the show today.
Hello. Clap it up for her.
Hello.
Which
I
makes-
clap for myself.
Yeah.
And it's Sayej.
Sayej.
Okay.
I'm a Sayej.
We want to make that clear. And you said it's an
Yes.
Arabic last
It's an
name.
Arabic surname.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. What region is it from?
My dad was from Palestine and my mom is from Scotland. So
Oh,
my autobiography will be called Haggis and Hummus.
Okay.
It's
Nice.
quite the mix
And that is
of immigrants.
And that is, your autobiography. That would be in a long line of books that you've already written, correct?
Yes, I know. This is
Haggis
like,
and
yeah, I
hummus.
know. I'm like already on my 8th
Can
book.
you like
Haggis
name them?
and
What's
hummus.
your favorite book between the first to the 8th? Rank them, please.
Oh, I mean, I don't even. You know what? The book that I released in 2021, which is called Red Carpet Hoe, and it's about being on the red carpet as a photographer.
Okay.
Right.
It's just like, I think it's my favorite because it's telling stories behind the scenes of shooting celebrities, being a culture journalist, interviewing these people, photographing them. And the sad thing is, though, is that even though that's my favorite book, is in 2022 and 2023, my most recent book, Paparazzi Bitch.
Paparazzi bitch. Hey.
2022, and
yeah,
then the next one that's coming out is this fall is called the Glitzerati.
Nice.
It's kind of like a trilogy after the Red Carpet Hoe. But I made these photos because I feel like I've kind of lost faith in people's ability to read books in this day.
Yes,
and age.
no, and that works. Thank you for finding a picture book. This is my intellectual speed. So I very much appreciate that. But can we take it back from the
That's
beginning?
interesting.
How did you get into photojournalism? Are you Spider-Man? What's the deal?
I know. I'm
Are you a
just
superhero?
It's like if you're a woman and you're in your 40s and you've made a conscious decision that you didn't want to get married and have kids and go this traditional route, and there's nothing wrong with the women who have, it's because I have this obsession to create things, and that's what I decided I wanted to do with my time.
Nice. And when did you get into it though? When you were have you always been taking pictures?
my
were you
God.
somewhere you snapped a camera phone picture of somebody and somebody was like, "You're gonna be a star, kid."
I had a
Get in here.
friend. I had a friend in Berlin who I met
Nice.
in 2010 or 11, which was when I first kind of moved there.
Okay.
My friend Christo Mitov, who I'm still friends with, and he was like, "I don't use this Nikon. It's just collecting dust
Wow.
on my bookshelf. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Sure."
That's amazing.
And then Berlin, living in Berlin, which is a city that's fueled by nightlife and party, I became a party photographer.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, when you go out and party and you do drugs and you get drunk, do you really want a big camera flash in your eye?
No, you don't.
Yeah, facts.
That's how you get into fights. And I know because I've been a party photographer before.
It's a really, really hard job.
With real niggas too, where they're like, "Don't take pictures of me. I sell drugs. Don't take that photo. The feds are watching. Don't." Don't take that photo. I'll stab
Get into a lot of trouble. No. And like all
the best is when it's on film and you're like, bro, I can't delete
it. Yeah,
it's there now.
It's there. Sorry, buddy.
But I mean, in Berlin, when you enter nightclubs, there's like a lot of them. It's a no camera policy.
Oh, okay.
But then they also take these stickers
Yeah, right.
and they put them on the front.
No way.
And on the back.
Yeah.
To make sure that you don't take any pictures when you're in Berghain or any of these certain nightclubs.
Wow.
Right.
Shit. So how did you kind of sneak your stuff in? How was that? You had just connections with people, or they were just like, you're so good?
I mean, I think that, like I was hired to like go to certain nightclubs
right.
and
Yeah,
I was like, I'm getting paid. Like I got to go out and work. I would start at midnight and go till 5,
Wow.
Sort of thing. It was like insane party hopping certain nightclubs. But
what's some of the wildest shit you've ever photographed as a party hopper in Berlin?
I would say the house parties.
Really?
Like if you're like getting to the level of people who have mansions and people who have their own pools and people who like, it's just, it can get really messy
Some
and
chaos.
fun.
Like,
yeah. That's where people can get like out of control.
That's kind of an interesting segue because your new book is going to be coming out, which is called
The Glitzerati.
The Glitzerati.
Subtitle, a photo, a book with photo captions.
Nice.
It's basically the photos like this one, but I've given like a little bit more faith in people
Gotcha.
where I've like written photo captions about what the photo is and where I got it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But you said
I like that.
You said it's a look into New York's high society, right?
No,
Really?
It is, yeah.
So what does that mean?
Took pictures
What
of
does
some
that mean?
Epstein shit.
we're talking yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about mansions now in Berlin, and
Yeah.
those being some of the crazy. Because I know what the club scene is like in Berlin. I've been to I want to go to Kit Kat, I want to go to Berghain still, but I've been to Kletterbau and like a couple other places out there, which. Yeah, like if you were seen with your phone out, like what are you doing?
Motherfuckers
type
eat
of
ass on the dance
situation.
floor.
Yeah. So,
And did you know that if you post a photo from Berghain and you tag Berghain or you hashtag it on Instagram, that the club account will write you and ask
No
you to
way.
take it down.
Wow.
hell yeah. I love that. But that's what I love
do
about
like that,
that's
yeah.
what I love about Berlin and Germany in
I was
general.
like, damn, they have somebody just with that one job.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. So, anyways, high society Berlin.
society,
We're talking about right
yeah.
now.
I mean,
essentially, or maybe to a degree.
So, I mean, yeah, I've been a culture journalist for 15 years. I started out going to art school in Toronto, which is my hometown in Canada. And then I couldn't make a living as an artist. So I went to journalism school. And then from there, I started being a journalist, and I worked for the Globe and Mail. I worked for Vice. I ended up working for The Guardian, and now I write for Forbes, and I'm like still around doing it. Surprisingly, I surprised myself.
Yeah.
And it's still a novelty as an immigrant to this country in this city to be able to go to parties and see really, really famous people.
Well, I was going to ask you, like, being a photographer, so you're photographing these famous people, these high up people, and then you're going back to your regular apartment, living this regular person life. What is your perception of, kind of the insane wealth inequality in the world and in society and how we praise these things? You're kind of this fly on the wall who gets to see the way these people live. What do you truly think about the way they live and the differences of that?
I think it depends on the person, but when you do meet them, like, when I've met Salma Hayek, or when I recently photographed Julia Hart in her $65 million penthouse apartment in Tribeca. It's like, are these people who they really are, who we see they are on TV or film, and are they really that nice?
Yeah.
New York City is definitely a city of turbo capitalism where there is a shrinking middle class.
Completely. I mean, it's pretty much non-existent right now. It's like you're a
Average
homeless-
rent in New York right now is $5,500.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, how can creative people survive?
That's fucking
They
crazy.
can't. They live in Newark now. Or Jersey City at most.
and
That's what it is.
Yeah, there is like exorbitant displays of wealth, but I even feel like when you do go and see these people, whether it's in their homes or at these parties, I mean, are they humble? Are they nice? I mean, if somebody has not been nice to me, I don't think I would put them in my book.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good. That's
I
good
fuck
to
with
know.
that. I feel you on that for sure.
Because it comes
I
down
hate
to
ego.
energy.
I hate ego, man.
It's just an energy thing, you know?
Yep.
So commenting on the bigger scope of thing, I think it's pretty hard. But I mean, it is exciting to be around these celebrities because they do sort of have this kind of like stardust about them. I mean, they're all on strike now.
Of course, yeah. So that's interesting.
I want to talk about that.
I-
You're an actor.
Shit, do we want? Yeah,
I
yeah.
am
It's
proud
like-
of them for that.
Yeah.
In that way of being
You
like,
know?
hey, we're putting our foot down.
You
right
know,
now.
because
Yeah.
I had all these like interviews lined up, and then the Venice Film Festival was coming up, all
Wow.
this jazz, and then it's all a lot of every interview I had for the fall has been canceled.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
can I ask, now that all these writers and actors are on strike,
Yeah.
have you ever thought of making a pivot to more like non-celebrity based photojournalism? Have you done that before? You know what I mean? Like, you're from Palestine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have you ever thought about just going and fucking taking some pictures of some real
I'm
shit?
I'm
dude?
from Canada.
Canada.
I'm from
Fair enough.
Canada.
Palestinian.
Canadian. Je peux français. But I mean, I'm not. There's certain journalists who are built in certain kind of ways.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And some of them are meant to be war correspondents, or some of them are really comfortable asking certain questions about the economy or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just there to like vacuum up the stardust. and
Nice.
give an impression of, hopefully, to inspire people to keep going with their own dreams. Because what's the point of celebrities appearing in the media
Yeah.
other than vanity? Well, I
Yeah.
mean, if you look at the deeper meaning of it, maybe it's so people can. It's a sign when they see them
Yeah.
to follow their own dream or to keep going, because people look up to them, people idolize them, people see them as a success because they are rich and they are famous. And what is that in America? The American dream.
Yeah. I that's actually really nice that you said that, because I feel like I've never really thought about it that way. When you see a picture of someone like, Paris Hilton or some shit, back in the day when I was in like high school or something, you're just thinking they're taking a picture of, some rich lady's vagina. You know what I mean? You're not thinking like, yo,
Coming out of a car, not wearing
Yeah,
underwear,
exactly.
the skirt, like the Britney Spears shot.
but
yeah.
even so, and
It's
I'm
all
not even
set up, baby.
but-
a lot of that shit can be set up too, and a lot of them also pay for it themselves.
Of course they totally do.
Yeah.
PR, we need to be relevant a little bit right now. Let's do something crazy. Let's
Yeah, let's go.
I need a publicist shooting me when I come out of the hotel.
Yeah, I guess so. I never thought about it.
Like, dude,
that way.
like 90% of it is fucking set up. Like
Really?
that. Yeah.
and
they
then
pay
they
you?
Photoshop it,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Sure that they look good.
Make my
so-
vagina bigger. I need you to make That's
Vagina shots are very like 2004.
Yes,
you
very
know,
2004.
now,
That's
Who's
the last
taking
time I
vagina
read People
shots?
magazine.
you know, I
Who
think
was
it's-
taking vagina shots? What?
I think
What's this obsession with vagina shots over here?
I don't know. Paparazzi, that's what I think. I'm thinking like nip slips and shit, But that's why I was saying the juxtaposition of you talking about inspiration
Yeah.
for paparazzi, because I've never thought of it in that way. I've thought of it more in this vein, kind of the gluttony of American culture. You know
I mean,
what
do you actually consider yourself a paparazzi? You don't. Yeah.
No, that's a
No.
really good question though, because
No.
my latest book is called Paparazzi Bitch, because I feel like the paparazzi bitch sometimes. I have met
Exactly.
paparazzi, like real paparazzi photographers, and a lot of them are immigrants, and their only asset for their career is their camera. And if you're desperate and you need to get that shot to help feed your family, you got to do what you got to do. You got to do
Ooh,
doorsteps.
shit.
Yeah.
Which is like standing outside and waiting for people to come out
God
of their
damn,
home.
that's kind of sleazy of these fucking companies. Like, I mean, I get it, like,
Yeah.
but like you're
tough.
literally gonna hire the one person that will do fucking anything,
That's
to,
true.
No,
anything to
it's
do that
tough.
shot without complete regard
really-
for that actor, that musician, that whoever.
Well, can you unpack that though? Why are so many of them immigrants? Because I mean, there's desperate people everywhere.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've
I
ever
never
heard that in my
known
entire
that.
life.
Well, it's like
love to hear some
when
story.
the ones that I've met and I've seen in LA, and they kind of move together as a pack,
Okay,
and
it's
they
not a
get-
good way to talk about immigrants.
No, the photographers. The
I'm
photographers
fucking
all
with you.
work together. They all know each other. They're all in the same area community. They know when
Yeah.
certain
They
celebrities
know
are
each
gonna
other.
show
and
up.
Yeah,
So-
they're
absolutely.
they're telling each other over the
Yes,
phone,
yeah, yeah.
texting, of course.
Everybody
Yeah.
knows each other, and they know who's coming out when, and like
Yeah.
they work together as a team, and I respect that, even though they work for different companies. But I use paparazzi techniques in my photography, because I love shooting arrivals. I love shooting people coming out of their car, because like if you just
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like street stuff, or
Yeah,
like people
come on.
backstage getting makeup put on,
Yeah.
stuff that sometimes you're not supposed to photograph, or
Mhm.
sometimes ends up being like such a meaningful, interesting photo that says so much about culture or about preparation or about behind the scenes, the Oz behind the curtain.
Well, how do you
Yeah.
take all these photos, you know, that are candid and still keep in the good graces of all these celebrities?
I think it's because I self-publish my books, so a lot of people don't.
That's huge.
Don't know, and I think that I think self-publishing is great. I mean, like here's some photos that I took of John Waters at the Paradise Club in the Times
that's
Square
awesome.
edition. And
That's awesome.
he was talking to Nick Alexander, who's like an up and coming theater star, and then everybody, as soon as they saw that a photographer was there, like the whole cast of the show, they were like, "We want a selfie with John Waters," and they
Oh,
there's
that's
like
iconic.
this
great.
huge,
They
you
all
know,
got
like
together.
because
That's
they were just
awesome.
like, John Waters is here at this nightclub, like get on this stage, like
Yeah.
That's sick.
you know, so like cool magical moments like that where they just wanted their selfie,
That's great.
you know.
And when you're focused on making a cool fucking photo and just like that's what your intention is, people are always going to respect you more too, especially celebrities. You
That's
know what I
absolutely
mean?
true.
Yeah.
I want to know though, what do you think about where do you think the future of photography is going? Because, you know, things like writing, you know, are kind of, I won't say irrelevant, but trivialized by things like Twitter. Things like photography are trivialized by things like Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, so where do you think photography as an art will be in 50 years?
I mean, I don't think 50 years in the future, but what I do have to say is that artists need to reclaim ownership of their work and put their creativity not only in their work, but how they show it.
Mm-hmm.
And have to always be putting together books, always be
Yeah.
putting together their own exhibitions or putting together their own group shows to make it different, to put a spin on things, to be a step ahead of all of that mainstream stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
1000%.
right?
But it's, you know,
1000%. And that's something that we wanted to talk about too,
Yeah.
like representing yourself and
Yeah.
Yes,
doing the
definitely.
For sure.
what were you saying before we started? Like social
So self-promotion.
Self-promotion,
I think
yeah.
self-promotion is
I mean,
like
you're
a
the
big
one.
thing.
You're the one doing the IG stories before we even were. So
Yeah.
you're
Yes.
great at it.
I'm like a natural self-promoter. People can take that
Yeah.
in a good way or in a bad way. You know, sometimes people who cultivate attention are sort of frowned upon, because then it's like, oh, you think you're so important that you can publish your own damn
Yeah.
book? I mean, congratulations, but like, you know,
It's-
you're not like, you know.
It's essential to your job, though, and I
Yeah.
think that's a big thing that's happening with art, especially. But before, it used to be for just acting or like just music if you were the performer.
Yeah.
But now, even for the people who are dealing with the performers, it's all you also have to show yourself. You know, like I'm noticing in art in general, it's like it's less about the talent and what somebody's doing, and more about the personality. That's what kind of allows people to really blow up or have a lot more attention sent their way. And I feel like what you're doing kind of feeds into that. You're showing yourself, like what Nadja likes doing.
Yeah.
You know?
You have to take control of your own legacy,
You really do. Because nowadays people will play with your name all day.
right? I mean, like just look back at all the old records that Richard Pryor put out.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what
I mean, that dude's a fucking genius. You know, I don't know how he would.
His autobiography is one of my favorite books of all time. It's called Prior Convictions. It's
Really?
incredible.
He has this great
know?
album. He has honestly probably the best album cover I think I've seen of any genre, where it's him. It's like you know, medieval times. You know what I mean? And he's about to be burned at the stake, and above the title just says, "Is there something I said?" And I'm like, I think that's so great. There's pitchforks, and somebody has to light him on fire, and I'm like, that is so fucking cool. Like 1970 or some shit, I would have loved
To
to
see
like
him live.
see that, or even find that at like a record store. You know,
Oh man.
like for you, what got you started in? Well, not what got you started in photography, but like, what were those few photographers that you saw for the first time, being like, holy shit, like. I love this person.
Do you know Helmut Newton?
I've heard the name.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I know the name. Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God,
I don't know the
guys.
work that well though.
Helmut Newton was a German photographer who spent a lot of his time living in Paris
Mhm.
with his wife, June Newton. He shot a lot for Vogue, you know, up until his death in the early 2000s. But damn, he made the sexiest. You're gonna have to Google him. He made the
Doing it now.
sexiest black and white high fashion photography that was so unpretentious
Yeah.
and just kind of like raw. And
Yeah.
he changed the game. You know, so I think that the people who were like industry, you know, game changers, like I'm hugely inspired by Joan Rivers.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, that makes sense. You know, she wasn't a photographer, but
No.
she has very candid interviews with people, and she was great at it. I
Yeah.
mean, and she was hilarious. I mean,
And
just-
her books
her
are
jokes
so
are funny.
funny.
Yeah,
Her books are
she's really
so funny. But in terms of other photographers, I mean, yeah, David LaChapelle.
Mhm.
I mean, there's just. I mean, it depends. Sometimes it's not even people that we know that well.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like buying Polaroid photos at a antique fair or whatever,
Yeah.
and just hanging on to things like that. So, but yeah, I think Helmut Newton has definitely been one major influence for me. Another influence, I would have to say Hunter S. Thompson.
Okay. Nice.
Gonzo journalist. Do you know
Yeah.
the Gonzo
Yeah.
journalism movement?
Yeah, that's
I have a
really cool.
Gonzo tattoo on my arm. I have to
Really?
show it to you.
Can you expand on that? The Gonzo.
Gonzo philosophy, the Gonzo approach.
Yeah.
So that's the symbol of Gonzo journalism.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like a peyote and a hand.
And so the
that turns into
gonzo
a knife.
journalist, because I'll be honest, I only know the term gonzo from porn. I don't really, but I'll be real with you though. Like I'm a big purveyor of like Jack Kerouac on the road. You know what I mean? Where he talks about
Gonzo journalism has nothing to do with Jack Kerouac. I can tell you that much. Gonzo journalism was a movement that came about in the 60s, and it was the first time ever
Mhm.
that journalists were allowed or took the authority to put themselves in the story.
and travel and stuff. Okay.
To
Because,
put themselves in the story.
Because reporting was always third person. You could never acknowledge yourself. You could never speak in first person. You could
Yeah.
never say, and then I saw this. It was always the person said to the reporter, or
Oh wow.
and then Hunter S. Thompson wrote this crazy book, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which
Yes,
became a movie.
Mhm.
And it was called Gonzo journalism. I mean, it was before that he was called that. But Gonzo journalism became a movement. Ralph Steadman is a Gonzo artist who illustrated it.
Okay.
But there's, Tom Wolfe. There's this whole movement of Gonzo journalism that changed the game and made journalism cool for the first time.
Mm.
So do you?
That's crazy. I did not know
Do
that.
you think
That
you'd
is-
ever want to do that? Have you ever?
Yes,
gone out
that's
and
what my
just-
books. That's what my books are. I mean, like
Really? So you
what-
actually spend a lot of time sitting with the celebrity, hanging out, and being a part of the actual experience?
No, Gonzo journalists. They're basically all dead now.
Okay.
Right? It started
yeah.
in the 60s. I was
Okay.
born in 1980.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's like I carry on the spirit in it with what I do. And before, Vice magazine was a bit more gonzo in the past, before it was crazier in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
It definitely was,
It
yeah.
was a lot more fun sort of back
It was
in the
really
day.
like, hey, we're fucking in, Kenya with some militant group, and we're just fucking here and taking photos, and yeah.
Even
some
before
wild
that,
shit.
when it was still based in Montreal, because
With
it was
Gavin
founded in
McInnes.
Canada.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
And they were doing like do's and don'ts, like party
Yeah.
photography of people's outfits, things like that. That was like a really laughable thing
Yeah.
before things like Instagram was even founded. But to get to my point, the stories that I have written in my books that are like fun, like Biennale Bitch, which I released in 2018 or 19, is just a collection of travel stories of like going on press trips and like weird shit happening. Because like you can't just sit in your room and write gonzo stories unless you're on a lot of drugs, in which case you're probably a fiction writer. But if you're a nonfiction writer, you want to go out and experience the world. You want to have a sense of adventure, and you want to write something funny about it.
Yeah.
Right?
I get that. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm still a little confused on exactly
Well, no, it's like
what it looks like in terms of how it's
taking-
made, but
It's like taking photos and writing about the experience while living the experience simultaneously.
Yes.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're talking about drugs, can you tell us some of the drugs that you've taken while doing some of this gonzo?
Oh, I mean,
don't think
gonzo
so.
journalism is.
I'm
is-
trying to get the hot scoop. You
It
know?
was gonzo journalism was like, I mean, Hunter S. Thompson did a lot.
I know exactly what you're
all
talking
kinds
about.
of
He was with the Hells
drugs.
Angels and all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, I have a lot of straight white friends, so they tell me all about Hunter S. Thompson.
Okay. I love him. He's one of my favorite writers.
No, he's pretty fucking awesome. In fact, I just learned this fact about Johnny Depp in Fear and Loathing. his wardrobe was actually all of Hunter S. Thompson's actual clothes. Did you know that?
I know, but
Crazy.
Hunter was so much taller than him, so
That's sick.
I know, so it must have looked baggy as shit. I saw that's really funny.
It's amazing. Yo, what are some of your techniques that you earlier you said you use some paparazzi techniques when you do some of these things. What does that look like? Because I don't know what that looks like.
You have to yell at celebrities. You have to yell at them.
You gotta yell at them.
One more photo for the lady. Or if you know what other language they speak, you speak to them in that language.
Ah, that's a smart idea. Because they're always going to look over it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
You
crazy.
know,
What languages have you used?
French, German, a little bit of Italian.
Okay.
Maybe Arabic.
Cool.
Yeah.
I feel like Arabic would get him. Like, you know?
Yelling
Like Gal Gadot or some shit. You'd say something in Arabic. She's like, what the fuck?
Habibti.
Marhaban.
Yalla.
All I know is like marhaban.
Yeah, teach us some Arabic. How do you say hello?
Haifaluka, or however you say it correctly. I know I'm probably pronouncing it.
Yeah, so
wrong.
But yeah, so I do scream at them. I do talk to them, and then they talk back. But some of them don't talk back. I got to shoot Cardi B at Paris Couture Week.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that really surprised me because she seems so cool in all of her videos.
Mm-hmm.
Like even just when she's... But when you meet her...
Not great. Yeah. Well...
I met her. She was at the Tom Brown show.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I should be offended. I'm Canadian, right? It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. That's where the hood scammer list comes out of Cardi B.
Yeah, keep going.
And so
what was it? What was it?
I attended the Tom Brown show in Paris, which was his first couture show, which is first of all incredible. Okay. And the way that it was set up was that you would go to the Paris Opera House. And there's like a main opera house in Paris. But the entrance was through the backstage door. And you had to go up. And it was strange. Nobody understood why we were going up the backstage door. Then, when we were in there, we realized why we were invited on the backstage door after we all sat down. And that's because when the curtains opened, it was facing the audience of the opera. So we were all actually sitting on the stage.
Holy shit. That's fucking amazing. What was your first thought coming out to that?
I was just like, wow, is he trying to say something about criticism in fashion?
Oh, God.
Right? Because he's definitely amplifying the audience.
Yeah.
In this, right?
That's amazing.
So then you shoot front row, right? When you're at a fashion show. It doesn't matter where you're sitting. I mean, journalists sometimes sit front row, but usually we don't. So you leave your shit on your chair. And then if you get one, if not, you're in a photo pit at the end with all the guys. Good luck getting a spot. And then you're like shooting, celebrity by celebrity. And Diane Keaton was there, and I almost died because she's such an amazing actor, and she was just like, so like, I have like a huge flash, and she brought out her, phone and was like shooting my flash. So I have photos of her holding up her phone. So, it's like, okay.
So you were on her Instagram stories.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, great. She's Diane Keaton, an older woman, cares about publicity still, or she's making fun of me. I can't tell.
A little bit of both. But it's nice. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
When you admire somebody.
She's so funny. Like, she's just naturally like a comedian. Like, just when you meet her, it's like she's
awesome.
Magical. And she was dressed head to toe in Tom Brown. And then there was like a middle seat that was empty. And the show was supposed to start at a certain time, and it didn't. And then lo and behold, Cardi B walks in.
Yeah.
And everybody stops. And then you can't really tell who she is because she was wearing this big gold sort of like...
Yeah, one of those very lavish
headpiece.
Fashion show type things.
Very, very high couture. And she
Yeah,
looked amazing. And she ended up sitting in between Anna Wintour from Vogue and Diane Keaton. And all the photographers went and like photographed her like madness.
Yeah.
Right? And I couldn't get there fast enough because I was sitting in the second row. And I was like, oh shit, now I gotta put my flash back on and turn my camera back on and take it out of my bag. And then by the time I got out there, the show was about to begin, but I was the only photographer. So I got some pretty unique shots of her because, and I was like, Cardi, can I just, and she looked up and she posed for me. And then I was like, oh my God, you look amazing. Like I can't, and then she was just like, and I was like,
oh God.
And I was like, oh no. Just because somebody is an amazing big personality doesn't mean that you should talk to them at all times, especially.
No,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I guess.
You
To me,
know?
that's a little bit much in the sense of
like-
like, all I was
I
doing
hear
was
that.
talking to you in the
Yeah, I
context
was
of
so
being
excited.
a paparazzi
Yeah,
person. It's
like-
just like, hey, thank you.
Yeah, but
You
no,
know?
but she doesn't need to say thank you.
I
But
guess.
she
Yeah.
was very, very generous with her time because after
What's
the
nice?
show, like when she was walking out, I got her again, which was amazing. And then she went outside through the front door, and so all the photographers who couldn't even get in the show and who were
Yeah.
basically just like standing on the sidewalk for
Oh
2 hours.
damn. Yeah.
Those are the ones who were working for the paparazzi agencies.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
She stopped and
Yeah.
gave them a bunch of time, and so she got some good street shots. So
That-
I was like, good for her.
Nice.
She didn't have to do that. She could have just went through the back door or the front door and like gone.
Totally.
gone
That's
and
absolutely true. Can I ask you this though, right? So working with all these celebrities, do you want to stay in photography, or have you ever thought of transitioning to anything like maybe some sort of talk show interview type thing with celebrities and getting to know them more, or do you like where you're at? And
I mean, that's a good question because I do interview them, and
Mhm.
the
Right.
thing that I'm interested in talking to them about more than anything is their success and how they got there,
gotcha.
Mhm.
because I think that that's what people need to know.
Yeah,
Right, because people just kind of see them on this big platform, and
yeah.
it's like, how did they really get there? If you read their
Yeah.
Wikipedia page, does it really connect the dots?
Mhm.
Right.
Who was their mentor?
Right.
Who are the people behind the scenes who are really making things happen? Like,
Yeah.
how does Kim Kardashian run Skims? Like, this is
Of course, yeah.
a billion-dollar
Mhm.
company. Like, how involved is she? Whose idea was it? So
course.
I'm interested in more of the
Probably your
business
mother's.
side,
Most likely.
right?
That chick is a.
You said probably her
genius.
mother's.
Her mother.
Well,
Yeah.
so like
Oh,
when I
Chris.
do
Who knows,
interview
yeah.
celebrities, and I do interview a lot of celebrities, I always ask them, if you had to give advice to young artists, what would it be?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
What are
they
what-
all say something different.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Really.
Like Christina Ricci told me, don't listen to me, listen to yourself, because
That's fire.
you know deep down inside what the answer to that question is.
That's fire. I
Right.
love that answer.
Right?
That is
Yeah.
great.
And then
I feel like that's a bit of a non-answer, but
it is. To me, it is, but
It is, but dude, you look at anybody that's having success. Whoa.
Success. Sex squared.
I think your camera might have gone off too. But anybody having that success is just doing them for the most part, man. Unless they're like, unless they're like a celebrity that has been like literally like a project of
Yeah.
a label, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just
Industry
kind of being
plant.
used and marketed, and that's how they like kind of become a thing known to the
Nepo
world.
baby.
99% of the time, they're just doing themselves, and fucking, people attract to that shit,
yeah, or
That's a
sometimes it's
fact.
people, it's just their destiny.
It's just their destiny.
No, that's a fact. There's some people who like you meet and they just have an energy where it's just like, yeah, you were meant to be looked at by people
Yeah.
and like famous,
Yeah.
even if they're not that talented. I've seen people who I'm like, they're not that talented, but they're going to be famous. There's just no questions about
Right.
it.
That happens a lot in acting, man.
Yeah.
Right?
As
you got
I'm,
it.
as I'm sure you've probably experienced it. I've experienced it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like 90% about what you look like, and then
It's absolutely.
they'll take that actor that looks more the part than the person that doesn't, but is a better actor.
I mean, Matthew McConaughey used to suck. And then he spent years and years getting put in these rom-coms that people made fun of. But you know what? You get your reps in. And then all of a sudden, he's put in True Detective, and he fucking murders it.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, he's just been an amazing actor over and over and over again. Like I think
he's got a ridiculous resume now, but yeah.
that's true. But I think that's one of the things. I mean, people used to make fun of him all the time, and I think there's a lot of different actors like that, where they just get put in something, and you're like, how is this guy here all the time? And then all of a sudden, you start seeing the potential that the first casting director saw. Over time.
But I think it's more than looks. I really.
It absolutely is.
I think it
That's
It
what I'm
absolutely
saying.
is. But I'm telling you that I know people, and
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much you have. I mean, you talk to actors all the fucking time. I don't know if anybody's said this, but like I've lost jobs because I just didn't look the part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like somebody else got my homie lost a fucking movie with George Clooney because he just had too many tattoos after being attached to the fucking part for a month.
But I think the thing
For a
is,
month.
I think the thing is though, it's not about looks necessarily, but it's about the look. And I'm not an actor, but as a comedian, that happens a lot. Like the look of a comedian, like, again, I'll see somebody who's not that talented, But I think somebody sees them, either a casting director, an agent, or a manager sees them, and they're like, if they get enough reps doing what they say they do now, they will finally become that Hall of Famer type person. Like, you know, your boy, maybe he just doesn't have the right look right now for that movie, you know, but the right person, the right director that sees him will make him a star.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
100%. Like I didn't even set out to be a writer. I did not.
There you go.
I set out to be an abstract painter.
Oh, really?
And look at you now.
And then I was like, and then all these obstacles just kept coming up. Like
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't, like I got into this master's program at CUNY, but I couldn't get a student
Yeah.
visa because you had to show this proof of all this money. And there was just obstacle after obstacle. And I was like, you know what? Maybe God just wants me to be a writer because I can just do it. It doesn't feel like work. And it's so easy.
Yeah.
And then somebody gave you a dusty ass Nikon, and
The
your
rest
entire
is
life got
history.
started, dude.
You know?
Same
yeah,
here.
and it's just like, and I feel bad in some ways because there's writers out there who are desperate to be published and who
Yeah.
are bad at self-promotion and who haven't even published anything their whole lives, but they're probably like incredibly talented writers.
And what would you
Yeah.
say to those people?
I would say you have to be better at self-promotion. You have to put yourself out there. You have to be bold and you have to be fearless.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, even if you are self-publishing your own books and mailing it to all your friends and, you know, college professors and family and whatever, just do it.
Can
know
I
what
ask you,
mean?
how'd you learn to gain those attributes? Were you just bold and fearless, you know, out the gate, or that was something you had to work toward?
I think the more that you're rejected, it builds a fire inside of you.
Facts.
And then you just have to like let it out.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to prove these people wrong, if not for them, to live my best life and to elevate myself. Because if nobody else is going to recognize me, I'm just going to recognize myself. And then
Yeah.
until people catch on and believe it too.
What was
Yeah.
one of the toughest rejections you've ever had in your career?
Oh my God. I mean, there's so many. I mean, I'll bring it up if I can think of it, but I don't know. I just don't know because maybe I've erased it from my memory.
That's a great
To
sign.
try and
No,
stay
really.
positive and stay on track and
Absolutely.
stay out with my goals and like write them down, put them on my fridge,
That's
them
a
every
great
day. You know, because it's in the past, it doesn't matter anymore. But I mean, it does matter because it builds you up to like, it's what I'm made of. It's who I am. It's made me who I am.
Yeah.
That's
You
good.
know?
But I think that's a great answer though, because I think a lot of people who are afraid to get started, all they think about is the disappointment and the rough track it's going to take to become successful.
Oh no.
But a person who is successful, they often just simply loved what they were doing and kept doing it.
Yeah.
Like I was, you know, on Instagram today, scrolling through like everybody else,
Yeah.
and I saw one of those, inspirational Instagram reels,
Yeah.
and it was Seth Rogen talking about. He was saying, actually,
Yep.
Kyle, you liked the clip too. I
Yep,
was like,
yep,
so
yep.
I guess it's making the rounds. There's tons of it.
Yep.
And he was saying, like, you know, all you have to do is keep going. Because if you keep going, you might achieve your dream. But if you stop going, there's no chance you'll achieve it. And he was like, I think about people like Ian McKellen. He was like, has anybody heard of Ian McKellen before he was 65? He's like, I only knew him as Magneto in X-Men. And then all of a sudden he's in Lord of the Rings. He's in this, he's in this, he's in this. And, you know, up until then, he probably thought he had no chance. And he was like, I've known tons of actors who thought they had no chance, but the only difference is that they stayed in it. So I think that's an attribute. That's a great thing that you have,
You
just
have
naturally.
to just keep going, even when it's like you can slow down. You can get a part-time job to support yourself.
Of
I'm not
course, yeah,
saying
yeah.
that you know just have to devote 100% of your time to your work, but you have to always make time for it, which means you have to spend less time scrolling.
Yeah.
Even though magical happens when you scroll, like you discovering that,
That is true.
right?
But, you know, I had some
Yeah.
of I spent plenty of time scrolling, but it gave some bountiful fruit, as now this is a story that I'm talking about on this podcast. So there you go. You know, it's cycles. Don't feel bad about taking a break, guys, because that's a thing too.
Yeah,
You know?
because you got to recharge your batteries.
Every once in a while.
Oh God, definitely.
Sometimes you just got to be dumb and do this all day.
Definitely.
You know?
Right?
That's sometimes where the inspiration comes from, though. You know, like I feel like I've hit those periods where like I feel like I should be, you know, making more money, or I feel like I should be working more. I feel like
know.
more things should be coming my way, and I'm trying to do everything I can for it. But then when you stop working for the work, and then like you take that second to breathe, and then just create for yourself,
Beautiful.
That's when you become clear and you see the real picture, and you're like, oh, I just gotta keep doing whatever the fuck I want to do.
Yeah, and case in point,
And
your landscape photos of deserts are very, very good.
Oh
Very
yeah,
nice.
thank you.
I
Thank you.
really like those photos, your travel photos.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, go check out my
Go check out Kyle's work.
I'll shamelessly plug.
Right?
Plug
And
it
like
right here, dude.
buy one of his photos to put on your living room wall because
Yes.
it's way higher quality than the IKEA ones that you can find.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely,
you
it is,
are
and they all got a
very
story too, which always helps to sell. But I've definitely tried to get myself into, I sell online. Obviously, I consider that stuff like kind of fine art, but it's like travel. But then, I sell that stuff on my website. I've had an Etsy for a long time, but you can check out bkgphotographynyc.com.
Yes.
And how does it feel to be somebody who had so much experience as a model and then now breaking into photography?
Yeah, I feel great, man. I mean, it's kind of the same similar story. My homeboy Caviar had a Nikon D7000, and he was like, yo, bro, I'm not even like using this anymore. Like, if you want it, I'm like, yes.
Right? You're not going to say no to that. Just say yes.
Yeah, because I actually had a digital camera before that, like 2 years before that, maybe a year and a half before that. I think somebody stole it. I don't know what the fuck happened to it. And then, I picked up like a point and shoot, started shooting a bunch of street stuff with my point and shoot. And then at some point in 2018, my homie gave me his D7000, and I used that until I got a Mark II in like 2021.
Nice.
Wow.
So you got a lot out of that.
Yeah, so
But to me, what's behind all of that is the power of friendship.
Yeah.
I mean, my friend gave me that camera because he's a friend.
People see things in people, and thus they push them in that direction.
It's crazy,
Right? And it might not even, they probably didn't even think photography. They just thought creativity, and this person is open and driven.
Yeah, and I can help them.
And here's this thing.
Yeah.
I bet you they don't have it. Here you go.
Yeah.
Have that.
So like that's to me a real friend.
Yeah.
And we live in New York City where real friends are really hard to find.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to also bring this up too. Doing all this photography, you have these beautiful photos. You take photos of beautiful people all the time. What are your ideas about like beauty standards and the understanding of what it is? What does it mean to look good and all that type of stuff? How do you view all that stuff? That's a very open question. I know it's very big, but
I mean, to me, the industry is the industry. I can't do anything about it. But I mean, I just know that I photograph people at events and galas where they're already polished and dressed up and have full hair and makeup. But there's people who have, made it to the top, and they are not these prototypical type of, aesthetic standards. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think if you love yourself and you're confident in yourself, that comes out louder than anything else. And the reason why I say that is because some of the new photos from my new book were taken at the Amphar Gala in Cannes, France, and that's the biggest event I've ever photographed in my life.
Okay, yeah. I thought you were gonna be like, and they have so many ugly people there. You would not believe.
No. And there was just like bandstands of over 1,000 photographers, and you're just standing there shooting for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And like, there was pretty people who came, and there was people who were like industry executives who were obviously not that polished looking, and behind the scenes people, but it was really the people who felt comfortable in their clothes and smiled, and it came really from their soul and inside that you get a really good photo.
No, that's great, because that's the one thing I've noticed this whole entire time that we've been recording.
Right.
Is like I said, a lot of times when I've thought about celebrity photos, maybe not paparazzi in general, but just celebrity photos and all that stuff, I've kind of thought of it as very like, very vain and stuff like you were kind of saying. But the way you approach it and the way you talk about it, inspiration and all that stuff, it almost inspires me. Like, what made you have that outlook about it?
I think it's because I'm not from here.
Yeah?
Yeah, because when you're from Canada, it's like the only time that celebrities come to Canada, I mean, this has maybe changed since I left, which was like during the recession of 2008-10.
And Drake is now everywhere.
Right? And so like
He
I
put
left
Toronto on the map.
I left before Drake and The Weeknd.
You left the 6. Why?
Right. So do you know what the 6 means?
It's like, what is it? It's like 6 buildings or 6 neighborhoods or some shit.
No.
I know there was a meaning behind it.
No, I'm about to tell you what the 6 means.
Yeah.
So in Toronto, when you have a telephone, the area code is 416.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. I didn't know. That's hilarious.
And 647. So
That's it?
I'm pretty sure that's what it
That's
is.
hilarious.
I thought it was way more interesting than that.
I know, right? I thought it was a bit more elaborate.
I mean,
also, is mine still on? I think
no,
it died.
fucking
Okay.
died. Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, we're moving on from Bill Nye because we're having a little technical difficulties with the cameras. So we're going into the sorry, what are we going into again?
The final segment.
The final segment, the final
Because
countdown.
early on, you asked me what my biggest rejection was.
Yes.
Right.
And for me, I put it in a book, and I think it was like my 4th book, and it's called Snow White True Story. And it's a fictionalized version of my attempt of being a rapper in Berlin.
Oh,
Really?
Shit.
How have
That's
you never
what you
brought
were
this
doing
up
in
the whole
Berlin.
time? That's crazy.
Yeah, Berlin is like a place where, when I got there, it was cheap rent. Really cheap rent. I had my own apartment for 200 euros a month.
Still is pretty cheap.
So
that's mad cheap.
So
that's crazy.
Shit.
Yeah, that was back. Now it's not that cheap.
Yeah, I heard it's
But-
pretty expensive actually. Now.
Yeah, it's much higher now, but that's why I was able to write so many books and experiment with arts and culture and to be multidisciplinary because there was time for that, and you could live with like a high standard of living, not like here, like with much less money type of thing. And so one of the things I experimented with was rap music, and like when you're a writer, and you could rhyme. I mean, you just have to figure out how to do it to a beat, and it's not that hard.
No.
Right? And so what I decided to do was document the process in a diary, a written diary that I would write every night. And I turned that into like a 400-page book, and it sort of tells the story of like, how I became a rapper and how I tried it. I never thought about doing it here. It was just something that I tried. It was like an exercise. Sometimes it's okay to give up on something.
No, it definitely is. Sometimes, when you give up on
absolutely.
something, it brings you down the road of where you're actually supposed to end up. You don't have to
That's
always
it.
cling to stuff.
Right? Like, did you ever play guitar or do something else that was like not...
Yeah, I quit most things that I've ever done. You know what I mean? Like I used to always quit stuff. The only thing I haven't quit is comedy, and I think that's why I'm so attached to it. Because I'm like, this means so much more to me. Every other thing that I've quit has just been like, yeah, I could kind of take it or leave it, or I really like it, but it's just not. It doesn't feel like me.
It sucks when you can't come to terms with those things, because some people can't come to terms with the fact that they need to let something go.
That is true.
So
Yeah.
they
Really
just
hard.
and then they just keep hanging on.
That is true.
And they just keep killing themselves.
Somebody probably feels the same way I do about comedy, but needs to quit it.
For
You
sure.
know?
100%.
That all
100%.
it all goes into personal context and what somebody needs as a human being, and so it's tough, and especially when you deal with rejection after rejection after rejection, and and all that type of stuff, you kind of start questioning yourself and what it means. But that's back to where we were talking about resilience and just keeping doing the same thing over and over,
And if there's anywhere that's going to give you thick skin, it's New York.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
As long as you don't become totally desensitized.
Yes,
you
you gotta-
still have to.
You got to keep the warm and squishiness about you.
That's why you need your real friends.
Yes.
If you have 2 real friends in New York, consider yourself very, very lucky.
Kanye, real friends.
Right?
How many of us?
Facts.
Right?
No, but it's so true. It's so true. It took me about. One of my best friends, I was luckily I was able to live with him. I moved in with him, and I didn't know him at the time, but that developed over years. 4 years, 5 years, and then probably the next closest. The closest person to me I had known since 2015, 16. But yeah, these relationships. If you really want to have an adult best friend, somebody you can really talk to and say whatever the fuck is on your mind without them judging you. That shit takes years.
Takes time.
Years.
And somebody
it took
who's
me
not
7
gonna-
years.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
And somebody who doesn't just like want you for professional favors or
Yes,
whatever.
absolutely. You know, that's what I kind of, just real quick, that's what I kind of love about living where I live right now, over in like Murray Hill, Kips Bay area, because there's like nobody around me that does the same shit I do.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I'm just like around normal people every
That's
day,
nice.
and then when I go to do the things that I want to do,
Yeah.
and like be in the community that I'm in, then I'm there.
No,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
It's super nice. But what were you gonna say?
Well,
no,
no,
you
you're
talk-
talking about having real friends and kind of struggles and stuff like that. And I was saying that, you know, a lot of people, they put a lot of weight into friends, you know, because like, oh, these people were only there for me in the good times and stuff. But I think also, too, you need people that aren't just there for you in the bad times or the good times. You need people that are there for you for both.
Absolutely.
Because I think there's a lot of, you know, people that are there for you in the bad times.
You ain't a real friend if you ain't there for both sides.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Obviously.
yeah.
Can I share my favorite quote?
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes about friendship. It's Oprah said it.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, you don't need a friend who is going to ride the limo with you. You need a friend who's going to take the bus with you when the limo breaks down.
That is true. That is true.
Because that would be fun.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. No, that's fucking facts. That's fucking facts.
Yeah. Gotta go. Gotta figure it out. On to the next one. Let's go.
Right?
Let's make this work. Let's.
But let's get
Come
back to
on.
the rejection story because we did set that up. I wanna hear it. What's the?
No, she still hasn't told us the rejection
She still hasn't.
story.
She
That
started
is
hiding
the
from it.
rejection story. I mean, like
What, you
I
as
was
a rapper?
so
Oh, right, she
rejected.
had to
I was
quit.
told by my friends. They were like, you should not be a rapper.
Oh, that's
you cannot do this. Like, it's so out of context. Like, it's wrong.
hilarious. They took you to the side and they were
Yeah.
like, "No,
They were like, just stop.
don't do that."
You're like, dude, I'm just throwing paint on the wall. Don't worry.
yeah,
You
right.
know?
No,
And-
you were convinced. You were convinced that you were going to be a rapper or what?
Yeah, and like I had like a whole cipher group, and we would all rap together
That's
on
so
stage.
funny.
And I would host birthday parties that would like, and then I would do Women's Day shows at lesbian bars.
That's so
Hey, you could revive it
funny.
right now. This actually is 106 in Park.
Yeah, right. Kyle Maine the God.
Kyle Maine the God. 106 in Park. Nadja Sayej on the mic. We about
Let's
to get this
go.
freestyle going in 3,
Oh
2,
my God.
1. Let's hit it.
I know you're gonna have to give me a beat, and I will go off. I
That's-
have to
She will
practice
go
for
off.
you.
You want this right now?
I don't know.
You want to be put on the spot or
Oh
what?
my God.
You scared?
Oh my
I'm
God.
totally
You scared right now?
scared.
You scared right now? Hey, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen, girl.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, why'd you
Scared?
set
You
him
gonna
up like
run?
that?
You gonna run?
No, she's
You
taking
gonna
off her
run?
jacket. She's getting ready for the.
Oh shit!
That's it.
I'm gonna pull up what kind of beat do you like? A Dilla beat or what do you like?
Something like old school, like boom bap.
Okay.
Boom bap.
Hell
You
yeah.
know,
Definitely Jay Dilla type
Because
stuff.
this year is the 50th year of hip hop.
I know,
That's a fact.
yeah. So you gotta shout out to it, man.
Right? Oh my God.
That's so
Boom
funny. I
bap.
can't imagine you as a rapper. I love this.
Right? I was
This
like,
is great.
I don't even know what I was doing, but we all go through,
Hey, you want to
Hey,
experiment with things?
right?
You want to see
wanna
new things?
Get on stage and do
Nothing
something.
bad about it.
So, what
Definitely.
the hell is this?
I need like a wait for the beat to drop. Yeah.
That definitely sounds like the beat's
fucking
gonna drop.
3 Doors Down or whatever the fuck.
Can we put
That
it
sounds
through
like
this?
UK rap.
Can we put it through this so it's like louder?
That's some
I
UK
wish.
rap that's gonna
I
come.
wish
through.
you might have
God.
to. You might have to go one ear in, one ear out.
But will people hear it if we have the?
Yeah, no, they'll
You go
definitely
like
hear it.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They'll
I gotta
definitely
find one first because that was trash. I don't know what the fuck
I
that
could
was.
Put like a Gangstar beat or something.
Oh man, not Gangstar.
These are trash.
No. I'm
Yeah, they're
not
like
a
trap.
fan.
They're like UK drill beats that you're like playing right now.
I don't know what the fuck that was. You better not be pulling up lyrics. You can't cheat.
No, I can't. I'm pulling up old school rap beat.
Boom bap instrumentals right here. This looks like the same motherfucker that I was just looking at on YouTube. Come on, man.
I was a vinyl junkie.
Crate. Okay, the song is called Crate Digging. You ready?
That's the thing about digging. You never know what you want to find. All drum breaks this drum.
You want something different?
Just wait and see how the beat drops.
I can kick it off. Nadja Sayej in the building. I pronounced their name wrong. Oh my God, go and get a chameleon. Crawl over your leg, crawl over the walls, keep them in a cage, but they can't be kept down.
Whoa!
Oh my God, whoa.
Where'd that come from?
I don't know. Why, was that crazy?
Yeah, I'm gonna play this beat. Yeah, you can rap a little bit too. See, everybody has a little rapper inside of them.
I've been trying to freestyle a little bit more so that I can just like let go a little bit.
More,
It's good for your mind. Just get
mindfulness.
Get whatever the fuck is on your mind to a degree, you know?
See, this is like a nice little beat,
I was
right?
trying to find some shit like that. Let's go.
Yo. I'm waiting for the beat to drop.
Let's
This
go.
is Snow White
No
in the
explanations.
house on a Sunday night, yo. X to the yo, you're never gonna know where you go with the Snow White's coming with you, never know. Cannon back to the Nikon 2, and I'm shooting up my camera, not done with you with the flash hit and the flashed up. Never stop with me, cause I'm right to the pup, and 1, 2, 3, 7, back I go. Back to Bushwick, where I live I know, but X to the yo, cause you never know what the Scorpio bitch, and that's how we never with the 50 years hip-hop too, and I'm never done with this, cause I'm always done with you, but I'm never calling back, and I don't text back too. Booty calls in Brooklyn, cause I'm done with you. X and the yo, and we gotta keep it right. Never come to you on a Sunday night. Oh, and I'm never gonna stop, now you got me started too. I'm the paparazzi bitch with the pink boot too, but back here on the podcast too. Shouts out to Phil and to Kyle. Love you, boo.
Oh,
Hey.
okay.
Nice little sign off.
Okay, good little reconnection. Let's go.
Good shit, man.
Yo, she's not coming to you. Not coming to you if you ain't got good dick on a Sunday night.
She ain't coming to your Brooklyn
Number
apartment.
one.
No, and if you're any smaller than 8 inches, don't bother.
Oh
There you go.
yeah.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
I'm a size queen.
Hey, it's game time in this bitch. I feel like that's the perfect place to sign up.
Size queen. Let's go.
That's the word of the day.
Let's go. If you can't bring the heat, get out of the fucking kitchen.
Hell yeah. Nadja Sayej, is there anything left that you have to say to the kids? What's up?
Don't give up on your dreams. You know, even when you give up,
Yeah?
you just gotta talk to your friends.
Yeah. And even if you give up on one thing, you can always become a paparazzi bitch.
Right?
How about that?
Right?
Yup, exactly. Go
Please
buy,
go buy
buy
a
the
book.
books. Be ready for
The Glitzerati. I'm gonna have a
Glitzerati.
book launch too this fall.
Red
so
Carpet Ho, check
Gotta
that one
come,
out.
gotta come.
Plug
gotta
it. Do you have the date for the book launch yet or no?
It's gonna be late September after Fashion Week. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And where
Nice.
can they find that information? Where are you going to post it? Where can they follow you?
I'm gonna give you my website and my Instagram, but my website, nadjasayej.com. You can hit me up.
Hey, there you go.
We're going to flash that on the screen.
Yes, we're going to put that up there. Guys, if you want to check out any of my stuff, like I said, you can check me out on YouTube, False Prophets podcast with me and Manny Perez. We do that every Monday. That one comes out. You can also follow me on False Prophets Pod on Instagram or at Phil Risden on Instagram as well. Kyle, what about you?
And then you're going to be coming on the One Too Many podcast.
Hell
One
yeah.
Too Many with Kyle Glenn. We're just going to shoot the shit.
We're just gonna freestyle.
Just like we're doing. I'm down.
Hey.
I'm down to have more freestyle
That's some
sessions
fun.
for real.
Yeah, go for it.
But yeah, you can find that podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube is One Too Many Podcast with Kyle Glenn.
Nice.
Instagram, the number 1 Too Many TOO Many podcast, and then obviously all my other information is where you guys can find it in the info.
And his
It's out
hot
there.
model photos are at his other Instagram.
The one you have to pay for monthly.
There you go, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Yo, she got mad excited.
Everybody's going to be hitting him up on the DMs. Yo, let me get that
Find
login.
me on OnlyFans, Chatterbait, Pornhub, Feet Finder.
Feed Finder.
What other?
Many vids.
What? Yeah, I know, you know.
Oh, I know. I've been paying attention to his career for a long time.
He's been following me since the beginning.
Yeah, right. And I've got you here. right, that's it, guys.
Clowns. That's a wrap.
Thank you guys for
Goodbye.
watching and learning things. We'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
Boy.
Peace out.